The following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy.
Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy.
It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world.
I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome into another edition of The Wyldeside with Eric Clark. I am your not at all humble host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your busy day being awesome to give my little video a watch and a listen. If you like it, like it. If you think other people are going to dig it, give it a share. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, hitting that notification button, and following me on any and all of the social media I have linked down below. That way, if there's a band, song, video, something you want me to check out, you can hit me with a DM or leave it in the comments. If you are going to hit me with a DM, please no spamming unless it's actual spam. And if that's the case, there's a mailing address down there. So hook a brother up. If you are going to leave it in the comments section, become a CONCURPA. It is a concurring Sherpa is where that comes from. All you have to do to become a CONCURPA is give the comment section a cursory glance. If you see your suggestions already been made, all you have to do is like that original comment and below reply with I concur. That'll help my old burnout resin-coated 90s adult DJ brain get everything into a nice little organized list, and I can put it in the handy-dandy notebook. This one's almost full. I'm getting ready to start another handy-dandy notebook, so get those suggestions coming. Another way for you to support the channel, we have a Patreon. All of that is linked down below. A couple of different tiers on the Patreon membership. I will be posting videos on there as well, strictly for Patreon members. So if you would like to support the channel that way, the Patreon link is down below. We are live streaming twice a week, Wednesdays 11 a.m., Saturdays 2 p.m., but if you click that notification button, you'll know that already. Live streaming, 2 hours, fun and frivolity with the CONCURPAs from the east side of Nashville, Tennessee. Before we get started today, I do want to say thank you to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Today's video suggestion is coming from Jeff Lander. He is a Facebook friend, and he said, hey, dude, you got to check out this track from the End of an Era DVD. So today, we are back on the Nightwish train, and we are checking out the Siren. I believe this was filmed in Helsinki. You guys are my Sherpas, so let me know everything down below with what I need to know about Nightwish, the Siren, here on the Wyldeside. Let's check it out. Very nice. Very smooth. Super smooth. Nightwish, the Siren from End of an Era here on the Wyldeside, as suggested by Jeff Lander, my Facebook friend. I had not seen that performance or heard that track before, and it's a really great example of what draws people into Nightwish, because there's so many layers to what Tuomas creates. I've called him the metal layer cake baker. He creates these really cool progressive metal trifles, if you will, where just layer upon layer, what normally would be simple sounds combined create this. I called it, the first word I wrote down was embryonic. And what I mean by that is that, okay, so you've got a lot of different parts in songs sometimes. Sometimes you have parts that are just setting the stage. Sometimes they're setting a tone. Sometimes it's just one track from beginning to end. What I like about this track is that it leads you to unexpected turns, and you're okay with it because everything is where it needs to be. So because nothing is out of place, all of the shifts and changes that are happening, whether it's the, the drums and the guitar harmonizing or riffing together, whether it's Tuomas and dropping in these really cool keyboard solos every now and again that really, I took it back to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, this really cool progressive tone, almost where it's like a Hammond B3 sound, but not really. But it's that very distinctive, progressive, psychedelic metal tone that he captures in those keys, along with what he's really good about, again, is setting that foundation. So Tuomas creates this really cool foundation, and then the rest of the band kind of weaves their way through what he and Yuka are creating with the drums and the keys. And then that heartbeat, that rhythmic heartbeat that's really kind of tying everything together is coming from Marco's bass. Meanwhile, Tarja's vocals and Empu's guitar really kind of take the center stage here, weaving that hypnotic, almost trance-like vibe. That's why I wrote embryonic, because I could take, here's where I'm hearing Tarja's voice right here. I could take these vocals and find the right old techno rave album and drop those vocals over it. I could drop her vocals in this track over an industrial techno song, and she'll still make it sound so rich, thick, and full. And it's deceiving because her vocals are here's what's really impressive about Tarja, is that she creates this lightness, meaning airy. Her vocals are very airy, very innocent, very spring-like. Yet there's a heft to them. There's a weight and a thickness to them that almost makes them teeter on the verge of darkness. But it never reaches that point because her control methods are so good. And you can see it in the way she's shaping her mouth and using... she doesn't use a danger zone. Everything is coming from down here. So you can tell that all of her energy, effort, and control is being put into these lyrics. So she's not what I call them ramps and drops. I know that there's a technical term for it. I believe it's called offset. But a lot of times when singers sing live and they're singing a song where they're pressing, a lot of times they will ramp up or drop at the end. Almost run out of breath, if you will. And what I've always found impressive about Tarja is her ability to maintain this really cool, rich, thick texture through her vocals from beginning to end. So you're hearing, and it's very indicative of operatic singers, is that they say every letter of every word, right? They're trained to do that. They're trained to speak clearly. So when they sing everything clearly, yet there's the power behind it coming from the core to push that air through and create that tone. So that's what, again, it really separates her from 99.9% of the singers out there. I'm not saying male or female. I'm saying singers out there, is her ability to control that lightness, So while the song calls for a demure, a more subdued tone in what she's singing, the power that she's creating with that note and with those lyrics is almost an instrument in and unto itself. So it creates this added tone to it. Then you add in Marco's vocals. Marco's vocals almost bring it back to a reality. Okay, so when I said embryonic or hypnotic or trance-like, this is a track that you can allow yourself, and I found myself towards the end there just falling into it and not realizing what was happening. And that's what you want. You want to turn yourself over to the vocal, or over to the piece. So while your mind is wandering in the ether, Marco's vocals bring this authentic reality to the track. And again, this dude's pure metal. I love Marco's vocals, whether it's Tarot, whether it's what is it, the one he did where he was doing covers of 80s songs with a bunch of other guys and stuff. So I've always loved his vocals because he does this really cool thing. I've talked about it many times before in videos. Your brain has a predictive AI. Okay, so over years and years of listening to music, your brain kind of gets ahead of itself when you're listening to new music. So you're predicting, you're expecting music to take certain paths as you're listening to it. And Marco does this really cool thing with his vocals that when he gets to the end of a verse or the end of his lyric, your brain is telling you he's going to rise or fall, right? He's going to go in one or two directions, and he goes the opposite. And it fits. And because he's so authentic that it makes sense, even though you would never expect it to go that way, even though you would never expect that shift in his inflection or shift in how he delivers that lyric. He does it in a way your brain is not expecting, and you're totally cool with it because there's so much authenticity in the tone and in the texture that he's providing that it fits. And then you add in the tone that's created, that riff, dude. I can never, ever, ever say enough about Empu and what he brings to this band and the genius of his proficiency and his tone creation is otherworldly. It really is. So when you listen to new music, within that new sound, you want some familiarity. That's what'll draw you into music you've never heard before is, okay, I'm familiar with that tone. I'm familiar with that riff, the chord, whatever. There's something about that track that draws you in through your own experiences. And what Empu is so good at doing is creating that tone, that riff, that depth, that texture that you're comfortable with. So while you're going on this new journey of yours, meanwhile, right below the surface is this sound. It's this energy that's coming out of that little purple guitar. And it's perfect every time. And I will say this, someone said this on a previous video, and I do want to point this out. Here's what stands out with Empu. He can create any tone and has. I've said it, progressive metal, progressive funk, symphonic metal, gothic metal, folk metal, whatever it is you're asking. He can create the perfect tone for it on one guitar. I've never seen him switch out guitars. I've never seen it. I saw Bob Dylan switch his guitar after almost every song. And they were all just like acoustic guitars. And I'm like, what are you doing? But that's how he plays. And the thing about Empu that really stands out is that he is able to create all of these tones through pedal, through knob control, through, you watch him tap, you watch him do his fills. He's so creative on that fretboard. I haven't seen anybody like it. I mean, aside from Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Joe Bonamassa, people like that level of aficionado of that instrument. He really is incredible, and I hope that that's not lost on a lot of people. And of course, the real heartbeat of that foundation comes from the drummer Yuka. I pointed this out the other day in another video, how Watching him play drums is like watching a professional race car driver in the cockpit, watching them shift and watching them manipulate the controls. That's what it's like watching him, because each appendage is doing something different, and it's all combining to create this really heavy impending tone throughout his drumming. You know, you watch his one hand is holding the stick like this, and his other hand is barely touching it. You know, one foot is going 100 miles an hour, the other foot is just providing that beat, right? Just incredible control of 4 or 5 different things going on at the same time within one player. So again, another display. I call this band cheat code. For Tuomas to have a stable like this throughout his career, there are musicians that will go 40 years and never have the level of musician in their group or supporting them that Tuomas has. The only other people I can think of who have had the access to the level of musicianship that Tuomas has had access to for his career would be people like Arjen Lucassen, Jeff Beck, guys who don't need a band, right? They want a band. And there's a difference there, okay? So Tuomas is one of those cats. And just to look at the stable of talent that he has had over, since 98, it's just absolutely incredible. It's cheat code. It's like not fair. There are bands out there that can't even find one drummer worth of crap. And this guy's had 2 of the greatest drummers of our generation playing in his band between Yuka and Kai. Same thing with guitar player. There are bands out there that will never, ever, ever have a guitar player that can create and capture tone the way that Empu does. Same thing with a bass player. Not only do you have a bass player, but you have a bass player and a vocalist, not even a backup vocalist. You have a lead metal vocalist in your bass player. And then you add those 3 female vocals on top of that throughout the career. It's murderer's row, man. It's just not fair. I would be jealous. There's a picture of, I think it's Pete Townsend, Keith Richards, and Eric Clapton standing in a club one night the first time Jimi Hendrix played live. And you could see the looks on their faces like, oh, geez, dude. Like, we really gotta pick it up now. I believe that's how everybody, musician-wise, when musicians go and see Nightwish, one of 2 things. Either A, you're going to pick up your game, or B, you're going to stop playing the game. It's just one of those 2 things, man. These guys are on a level unlike anything else going as far back as I've seen. So well done. Thank you very much, Jeff, for the suggestion. That was Nightwish, the Siren End of an Era DVD. Again, I believe that was filmed in Helsinki. But you guys are my Sherpas on this new music journey of mine, my CONCURPAs. So I rely on you to fill me in with everything I don't know down below. Politely, though. No need to yell at me. No need to put all caps. We're adults here. So thank you very much for giving me all the information I need over the years with Nightwish. Greatly appreciated to all of my CONCURPAs. Don't forget, we are live streaming Wednesdays at 11 a.m., Saturdays 2 p.m. If you want me to react or break down a song, band, video, something for you, you can leave it in the comment section or hit me up with a DM or become a Patreon member. Everything is linked down below, but first and foremost, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Thank you to all of you for taking time out of your awesome day to watch my little video. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark. That was Nightwish, and this is The Wyldeside.